What is it that you most need to know as you set out to explore franchising? In this video, I want to give you your essential guide to franchising. If you're new to my channel, hello and welcome. So my name is Kim Daly. I'm a franchise consultant, and for over 20 years of my life, I have been helping people just like you say yes to the dream to own a franchise business by aligning your background, interests, skills, finances, and life goals to some of the best franchise opportunities that are out there today. So if you get inspired to explore franchise opportunities matched to you, well, I want to be your franchise consultant. That is the point of Kim Daly TV and this essential guide to franchising. So stay with me until the end of the video and I will share how I can help you. Now, before we get into the video, if you're enjoying Kim Daly TV, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell because I put out new content every week and I want to make sure that you get to watch all of it. Okay, so let's dive into our essential guide for franchising. What is it that you need to know before you invest in a franchise? The first thing I want you to know that franchising is always who, not what. So you're investing in a franchise because you find people who have a vision for building a brand. And when they share that vision with you, it inspires you. When they talk about their family of franchisees, it feels like you would belong. As they share with you how they're going to train you and mentor you and coach you, you believe in them and in their ability to help you become a successful business owner. Look, if you want to go out there and reinvent the wheel and do it on your own, go be an entrepreneur. But being a franchisepreneur means that you are investing in who, not what. So before you decide on the franchise, find people, not widgets. Okay. The next thing I want you to know in your essential guide to franchising is that when you invest in a franchise, you are in business for yourself, but not by yourself. So this is the idea that you're not an entrepreneur on an island, figuring it out, reinventing the wheel, struggling, trying to figure out how to make money. You're investing in proven processes and people and tools and technology and systems, and those people are going to be there to coach and mentor you. So you're not on an island by yourself. You're surrounded by other people. And that includes both the corporate office as well as all of the other franchisees who've already said yes to this business. So don't forget, in a franchise, this is about who, not what, and the idea that you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. Now, ultimately, when you invest in a franchise, I want you to think about the franchise as a vehicle. So a franchise is a vehicle that can drive your life personally, professionally, and financially to a new place. But the clarity of your goals and dreams equals the gas in that vehicle. So I don't care how amazing a franchise is. If you show up without clear goals and dreams, that business is not going to produce for you what you want it to produce. You may hear terms like franchise is business in a box. A franchise is turnkey. You may look at an FDD and say, I'm going to invest this money, turn the key, and get this earnings claim. But in other videos, I have explained why that thinking is absolutely flawed all over the place. The idea is that the franchise is proven and it's a souped up engine, but an engine without gas, without fuel, it doesn't move. And so you are the gas. You have to bring clear goals and dreams. When people are like, if franchising is so good and so proven, what am I bringing to it? I'm like, what do you mean? You are bringing everything to this. A business needs you. A business needs an owner who's there to guide it, to influence it, to create a culture, to inspire it, to create a feeling. That's what you bring. The clarity of your goals and dreams. That is the gas in the engine that is the franchise vehicle. And when that vehicle has a full tank of gas, that's when the vehicle can move you toward your personal, professional, and financial goals. Now, beyond gas in the vehicle, what else do you need in your essential guide to franchising? You need to make sure that you are properly capitalized. Look, the number one reason that any business fails is because people run out of money before they really figure out how to make money or can get to that cash flowing place. This shouldn't happen in a franchise because there's so many people who can validate the numbers to you. But ultimately, you're the one who's in control of how you're spending that money. And you're the one who's in control of understanding how much money you think you need for this journey. So make sure that you're coming in with more than enough money so you feel so abundant, not just financially, but also in your mindset. The next thing that you need in your essential guide to franchising is an understanding of how to follow the franchisor's lead. Now, this sounds easy when you're out there on the sideline, but it's not as easy when you're inside. So when you become a franchisee, I would recommend that you check your ego at the door, that you humble yourself and follow what they tell you to do. I know it sounds crazy when I say that people invest in a franchise and then they don't do what the franchisor says to do. And you may be thinking, why would anybody do that? But they do it. And you may do it as well, especially if you come out of the gate, things are a little bit harder than you thought they were going to be, taking a little bit longer than you thought it would take, and you start to lose faith in the franchisor. Now, it may not even be the franchisor's fault. It could be your expectations that were wrong. So this is where people start to fall away from the plan and they start recreating it, doing small little things a little bit different. And little by little, they're moving away from the franchisor's leadership. So in your essential guide to franchising, you must remember to follow the franchisor's lead. Look, I've been a franchisee now for over 20 years. I still do every single thing that I was trained to do over 20 years ago. Why? Because my process works. But it's the extent to which I work the process that creates the outcome in the business. The next thing that I want you to have in your essential guide to franchise absolutely is a long-term focus. Owning a business, starting a business is not a short-term fix. So if you need to make money right now today, I would not be investing in a business to satisfy that need. I would go get a job. Building a business is going to take time. It doesn't have to take a lot of time, but you owe the business time to ramp. You owe it to yourself to give yourself time in order to get up that learning curve. You're only going to start to make money after you become successful at satisfying your customer avatar. So first you have to understand the customer avatar, you have to understand the sales process, you have to practice that sales process, you have to fail forward with that sales process, and you have to refine and get better. And so very often it takes 3, 6, 9 months for most businesses to get up this learning curve because the owner has to get up this learning curve. And then when you're up the learning curve, that's when you'll start to get a financial result. So too many people own franchise businesses and they're only looking for that financial result. And I'm like, look, money is the result of your success in serving a customer. So how quickly can you make money in your business? Nobody knows until you get in the business and figure out how to serve a customer. Once you do that and you're an expert at it, you'll find that there's no limit to how much money you can make in most businesses. But you have to do the work to figure that out. And to the extent that you do it, that's when you'll make money. So your focus in building a business should be long-term. And the last thing that I want in your essential guide to franchising is your understanding of your powerful why. What is getting you out of bed and motivating you to want to do this every single day? I'm going to tell you this. Building a business is going to be harder than you ever thought it was going to be. And I don't say this to scare you. I say it to inspire you. Don't be afraid of the hard thing, but also understand that if you are not strongly and firmly committed to your decision to be a business owner, when it gets hard, you're going to want to bail. And so when people say, oh, my business didn't work out, and other people freak out when they hear that, I'm like, don't freak out because we don't know how much grit that owner had or didn't have. And the grit that you have, the tenacity that you have, the focus that you have, the ability to stay the course all comes back to what's inside of you. What are you made of and why are you doing this? So you need to understand your big, strong, clear, powerful, motivating why. You need to write it down. You need to put it all over the place. In fact, I have my whys on goal cards and I recite my goals every single day, like clockwork, like brushing my teeth, like eating. I recite my goals. This connects me to my why every single day. It empowers me. It keeps my mind clear and it helps me to remember exactly why I do what I do, which, after all these years, isn't so hard to remember, but it's still good to know exactly what I'm focused on. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do. Because as I said earlier, the business is just the vehicle. And if you don't have any gas in that vehicle is not taking you anywhere. So, to wrap up your essential guide to franchising, I've told you everything that should be in the guide. Now, what are we doing in a franchise? We are building cash flow that you get to own and control. We are building tax advantages to enjoy tax shelters, the tax advantages of the wealthy people. And we are building equity that is yours to sell or to pass on as a legacy to your family. Ultimately, we're building a business because 90% of millionaires own their own business, and you want to be a millionaire or a multimillionaire. That's why you're on my channel. That's why you're thinking about owning a business, and that's what we all want for you. We want you to get what you want through this business ownership journey. The franchise will provide the what, the who, the technology, all of the things that help you buy down that learning curve. But you have to show up with your big, strong, powerful, motivating why and that grit and determination that you want to be a long term successful business owner. That you're in this, whether it's good or whether it's bad. Because the reality is, as you go through this business ownership journey, absolutely you're going to go through some valleys. And in order to stand on that mountaintop and to really appreciate the joys and wonder and magic of personal and professional freedom, you have to be willing to endure the valley. So, enduring the valley comes back to your big, strong, powerful, motivating why. And you're going to find the grit inside of you to endure that because you have that why. And with that, I believe all things are possible for you in your definition of living the American dream. Now, if you are ready to begin your journey to find the perfect franchise, I want to be your franchise consultant and your daily coach. So all you have to do is follow the link in the description right now. I will reach out to you within 24 hours so we can open up a conversation and begin your journey. Thank you so much for watching the video until the end, and I'll see you in the next one.